Greetings, Elder Blacklight. Now we gotta quit killing each other, fighting each other over the white man, money, and his word that we are different. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad said that he was brought over here to the wilderness of North America in I believe it was 1551. I hope I ain't wrong on that, but I might be. And we are from the tribe of Shabazz. Since then, we found out that uh, the so-called Indians were black people. Well, in the Supreme Wisdom book, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad states that the Indian is in the family of the black man. But he also says they stepped away from civilization, or they stepped away from Islam, even though they practice some aspects of Islam. So this video, we're going to show you that Africans are the first man all over the planet.
Now, what I like to do now is to move directly from Africa itself and begin to examine the African presence around the world.
The Kalahari Desert, Namibia. I'm here to find an extraordinary ancient tribe of people, the San Bushmen. Our research shows that their distant relatives left Africa and set in motion the family tree of mankind. From them stemmed every color, creed, and nationality alive today. Everything predicted in their blood seems to be written in their faces. It's like looking at a composite model of every face from around the world. The eye shape of East Asians, the high cheekbones of Mongolians, the mid-brown skin that could turn darker or lighter.
So the San, also called Bushmen. And these are very ancient people whose history in southern Africa is perhaps 40,000 years old or more. Probably older than that. I would suspect more like 100,000 years. And now 10 or 15 years ago, showing this image, I would have said that that they look like East Asians, like Chinese, like Koreans, etc. But now I would say that East Asians look like them. And there's a good reason for that, because these folk like this are the original people of Africa and Asia, or at least very ancient people. And then we see something very similar with this San woman right here. And this is interesting because it shows that not all black people are dark. Some black people are naturally light-skinned. It has nothing to do with racial intermingling. Again, we're talking about the original man, the original woman, the original humanity, black coming out of Africa.
The Nile River, which we came down, flows from south to north. See, we came down the river. They came up the river. So when we came down in this direction, we looked at this as the bottom. This is the bottom. And see, a lot of the ancient fossils is in the Central East region of Africa, but they left this region and went south before they came down north.
Per mtDNA are the first modern-like humans to migrate out of Africa. They include the various types of black peoples: black Australoids, black Pygmoids, and black Negroids. Enter Europe, Asia, Siberia, Australia, Melanesia, and the Americas. Then you Indians, or you so-called Indians, come and tell me that Australoids have nothing to do with Africans, when we come from the same first modern human-like family.
These maps of the Omo Valley region, oldest modern humans, 195,000 years old, coming up out of this region, as I said, migrating around the world from the early documentation that we see here today.
Buddy, it's Jabbar here. Is it just me who notices the striking similarities between Japanese and African languages? And before I begin, I just want to make something clear. Many people come to my videos and assume that I'm one of those annoying, bigoted, Afrocentric people, try to preach pseudo-history and basically be a culture vulture. And as annoying and frustrating it is when people come here with those assumptions, I don't really blame them because YouTube is so polluted by people like that. The only thing it does is make people like me who actually back up my sources with references and evidence less credible. So before we start, I'm just going to make one thing clear. I am not trying to claim that Africans made it to Japan in pre-colonial times or vice versa. I'm not trying to claim that that happened, nor am I trying to claim that there's any evidence suggesting that it did happen. I'm simply pointing out many striking parallels that I find between the two cultures and languages. And I don't know why those parallels exist, and for all I know there was pre-colonial contact. I simply found this topic extremely interesting. It's something I've been thinking about for a really long time, and I put this video together for discussion purposes only. And these parallels may very well just be mere coincidences. So as a native speaker of English, the only language I really know is English. I don't know any African languages, I don't know any Asian languages, and frankly I don't know any other languages other than English. With that said, all of my observations are purely observations. So please take the things I say with a grain of salt. So now that all that stuff's out of the way, now let's get to the meat of this video. So one of the things I've noticed throughout my many years of researching African history, cultures, and kingdoms and languages, I noticed that they bear striking similarities to Japanese. One of the most obvious similarities is that nearly every Japanese word and every African word ends in a vowel. And by African, I'm referring more particularly to, but not specifically to, Niger-Congo languages. The rare few words in these languages that do not end in vowels almost always end with the letter N. Another similarity is, unlike most other languages of East Asia, Japanese is a tonal language. However, given the specific part of Asia that Japanese lies, there are very few tonal languages in the surrounding areas. Contrary to Africa, where nearly every language within sub-Saharan Africa is tonal. And if you don't know what a tonal language is, as opposed to European languages such as English, German, and French, tonal languages are strongly reliant on the way you say a word, the tone of your voice when you say the word. One good example of this would be Mandarin Chinese. In this language, the word ma has 4 different meanings, from mother, imp, horse, and scold. If you say the word ma at a high tone, it would mean mother. If you say it at a tone that starts high and ends low, it would mean scold. Tonal languages such as these are most commonly found in sub-Saharan Africa and Southeast Asia. Japan, however, doesn't lie within any of these regions. The Japanese language is quite an oddity in comparison to most East Asian languages. In fact, the Japanese language is considered a language isolate. What this means is that it cannot be linked to any specific greater language family, such as Afro-Asiatic, Sino-Tibetan, or Indo-European. Thus, its origins are unknown. Other language isolates include the Sango language of Central African Republic and the Basque language of Spain. Linguists generally have no idea where language isolates have their origins, due to the fact that aside from a few loan words from nearby languages, they don't have any relation to any language families in the entire world. But that being said, since language is one of the primary means of linking one culture to the next, Japanese being an isolated language, its origins remain a mystery. I do want to bring up again that I don't know Japanese, nor do I know any African languages. I'm aware that the similarities that I see and hear within the languages may simply just be skin deep. However, another one of the more obvious parallels between Japanese and African languages is just the similarity in words, names, and places. Though I had already noticed this before, I brought up this discussion to one of my Nigerian friends who belongs to the Yoruba ethnic group. And despite the fact that he's a native speaker of the Yoruba language, even he can see the similarities between the two languages.
Science, music, literature, drama, the whole culture, particularly the religion of all the people of Asia can be traced directly to the Africans of Asia.
So in the Democratic National Convention that just passed, Michelle Obama had a speech where she talked about every morning she wakes up in a house built by slaves. Bill O'Reilly chimed in. And Bill O'Reilly, what that cocksucker had to say, he said that he went into the history of the White House. I think it was called the Executive Mansion in the beginning. And he said it was built by slaves as well as other, as well as white people and so forth. But he said that the slaves were well fed and adequately housed.
Stay tuned for part 2. Assalamu alaikum.